I'm your host, Alicia Morales, and this is a new episode for In Her Details, a podcast focusing on revitalizing the family cell, bringing back tradition to our homes, encouraging more families to bring Christ back home and have a Christ-centered family. And today I have a special episode because it's very exciting. I'm so excited about this episode because this is an episode focusing on Catholic women lead. Hey, our role as women is very important to nourish and nurture our society, our communities. And I have a special guest with me, Crissy Rangel. Yes? Did I say it right?
It's okay, Rangel, but either way. Actually, Rangel is correct. So it's funny. So this is going to be part in Spanglish. So sometimes we're going to be flipping to Spanish.
I gave it the Spanish.
So you gave it the Spanish tone, which is absolutely accurate.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Crissy Rangel or Crissy Rangel?
Okay. Well, it's a bilingual podcast, though.
Absolutely. Vamos.
Well, let me just say a little short introduction about why we are recording again, because about a month ago, or no, probably 2 months ago,
yes,
Crissy was here at our studio, and we had technical difficulties where our audio did not record. And when I let Crissy know that it did not record, she was so sweet to tell me. Well, I think it was just very providential. Also, what her message. The Holy Spirit wanted that conversation that wasn't recorded, just to be between us.
Yes, and I love it because it makes the foundation for this moment that we're having, because we are having so much more fun and so much more excitement, and we have so much growth from that moment to this moment that it's like, oh my gosh, we're already exploding. We haven't even started talking.
Yes. Well, it's just, Crissy, I admire you so much because, everything that you do, your leadership. And I'll let you tell us more on what you do. But just as a Catholic woman, as a woman taking leadership as well in everything that you do, we met at the retreat at the Santiago Retreat Center, right? The Saint for YCP, Young Catholic Professionals.
Absolutely.
The St. Joseph's Retreat. And that was such an amazing retreat. And as we're going to get into the conversation, this Thursday, I got to meet up. Also, I got to see other persons that were, Mallory, and we'll get into
shout out to the boys.
Yes. I was like, whoa! I was like, it was just like a flashback of the retreat
reunion.
Yes, it was a retreat reunion, and I look forward to another of those retreats as well. It's so needed, especially as a YCP, right? As a young Catholic professional.
Absolutely.
It's needed in our daily routine, and I think they're having the actual retreat coming up, right? The for YCP, the one that's in.
I think we'll put it in the details on the date and time, but it's about that time. So
yes. But the international one, isn't it?
You're talking about their conference.
Yes, their conference. Yes.
So shout out to the conference. If you're going, you're gonna love it. It's let God lead you, and put all these new people right in front of you, so you guys can meet and create the community that is that allows the Spirit to move in each one of us and take us to where He wants us to go.
Yes. But let's get back to you, Crissy. Tell us, your journey of faith, your journey as a Catholic woman leading, right? And how you started your relationship with Jesus as well. Because, in order to continue persevering and in your career, in your work life, how has Jesus walked with you?
That's beautiful. I like how you start with that, because it's really a walk, and it all started with I've been born and raised in a Catholic family. Loved it. Went to Catholic school for till about second grade. Moved away from Los Angeles to Inland Empire. And me being a child, I was like, I'm never gonna have fun again. This is the end of my life. Everything closes at 10 p.m. So what I didn't realize as being a kid, that really set me up in my mind to not give myself the opportunities that I could have had. My parents were super encouraging. Do you want to play soccer? Do you want to get into dance? Do you want to do activities? I said no, no, no to everything. They figured that I was just not as gregarious. The one thing that I did participate in was activities that I had to do for school, and I excelled in those. Then eighth grade came along, and my teacher, Mr. McMahon, said to all of us, life is like a carousel. You can get on it or you can get off it, but it's going to continue going without you. And through the grace of God, I realized that that was for me that moment of click. I needed to get on my carousel of my life. And from there, boom, 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 I got involved in everything. Now, moving from Los Angeles to Inland Empire for me as a kid, being a very obvious Catholic school kid who just came out of a private school from the socks, you already knew I was different, so I got bullied quite a bit. But my faith was always with me, and that really helped me create that relationship of, well, I always have Christ, so I was very lucky to have a relationship with Christ from a very young age. That kind of friend relationship, constant prayer conversation relationship. Going from moving on and doing absolutely everything, faith became very important to me in the sense of finding organizations that follow you throughout your life. Life Teen at that time. Afterwards was the Newman Catholic Club over at Cal State Fullerton, then Catholics at Work OC, the young professional version, then where we got to know each other, YCP, so that, and now at the professional level also Catholics at Work OC, as well as Tepeyac Leadership Institute, to name a few of those, are being of the religious organizations, and of the secular organizations, Giving Children Hope, which we met each other at the networking event yesterday, which was amazing. Well, not yesterday, Thursday, which was amazing.
So much fun.
Loved it. Democrats for Life, and the Southern California Pro-Life Alliance, to name a few.
Wow. See, it's like, it's possible. You could do it.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of prayer.
Yes.
But yes, it can be done.
But absolutely. I mean, wow, it's just, like I said, I admire you because, and it's inspiring, because it's inspiring for other women as well, that, we could get out there and, well, continue growing. Right, in our morality, in our virtues, in our in our growth in spirit as well, and working, and especially in the work life, to work with others. Like, for example, for me with my clients and hearing their stories. So it's just amazing what you do.
And I love how you say in our experience of work, because I think that's where you and I really get super excited of being able to bring our faith into the workplace.
Absolutely.
I just started getting back into schooling again. I'm doing my MBA. Shout out to my friend who told me, like, hey, you need to take on this again. And blessed be God, it just kind of worked out. And I went into classes deciding, I really wanted to make this a little bit of a missionary thing for me, in the sense of being very candid about my Catholic faith. And elsewise, it's like, something like a pin, you can hear a pin drop, in the sense that people aren't used to anymore that conversation that is like, hey, this is a part of me, as much as every other organization that I am a part of. And so we've had some beautiful conversations regarding faith from people of different faith backgrounds, from people who are just, like, hey, well, you do both. How do you do both? And it takes us to open up that conversation, to be intentional about the faith life that we're trying to build, and also the professional life that we're trying to build, and bringing it all together.
Yes, exactly. Bringing it all together, your faith, your journey, right? And then tying it with your work life, with that environment as well. Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. Because this comes to mind. How has, that impact as well with, even colleagues, or even, in that atmosphere, maybe even atmospheres where it doesn't relate to your, journey of faith, managing that as well. How has that been, like, with other, your colleagues or people you encounter?
Sure. I think that, well, I work in the secular field, in the sense that I am customer service and outreach supervisor at Titan Shops over at Cal State Fullerton. Love it. Go Titans. I was super proud of everything we're doing. But so 100% secular environment.
Mm-hmm.
However, bringing our faith into the workplace for me in that place, it is trying to be the best supervisor that I can be,
Mm-hmm.
using the skills that I'm getting from my MBA program, and also really challenging myself in faith. You know, faith is calling me to have ethics, to be able to treat people as best as I possibly can, to make sure that I'm being mindful of them, and to lead them in a direction in which they're going to grow. So while I'm not necessarily jumping in an opportunity to with somebody and saying, "Hey, will you pray for me?" That might be a little bit difficult, especially I don't know their background, but they do know that, hey, from the cross that well, from Mama Mary that I'm wearing, or the little cross that I have somewhere in the office, kind of thing, that there is a personal intent on my part to improve my faith and for that to result in an excellent job at work. So St. Jose Maria Escriva really brings that together in the sense of trying to do everything really well. And so I'm challenging myself to be the best I can be, but the reason behind it is because of faith.
Absolutely. Yes. Beautifully said. Yes. And absolutely. One other thing that comes to mind that we can also have a conversation, with extending that topic. Um, Many of our careers, and it could be also in business and architecture, they're male dominated professions.
No, certainly.
Right?
Now, don't take it back. We're not taking a dominated word as
we're having a dialogue.
Some guys are like trigger. Yeah. Oh no, here we go.
And the reason why I bring this topic as Catholic women leading, right? Because especially in different work environments, it's because we face challenges.
Mm-hmm.
For myself in architecture, I mean, it's male dominated, being out in the construction field, right?
Yes.
And coming in with my plans and, hey, no, it's done like this. But it's working as a team, right? Also, but in that environment, how has that been?
Very similar in the sense that sometimes when and actually I'm going to go ahead and bring it out into the faith perspective. Mm-hmm. It is fantastic that we have a lot of spaces for professional environments and fraternities, Catholic fraternities. That is wonderful. But in the process, a lot of us women are helping to build those spaces, but we're not helping to build ourselves as a community, which women need more so than men. Because men, they just jump into the current community that's there, and the majority is men. So without necessarily having to say, let's make a men group, and ends up being a men group. Us ladies, on the other hand, not so much. And especially because sometimes, we work so hard to get to where we're at that we can have a maybe competitive nature in us with each other, or not necessarily immediately see that the other woman in the room is somebody that we can immediately bond with and say, hey, how can we help each other grow? Versus maybe like, hey, you got your sphere, I got my sphere. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we constantly have to continue to break as faithful women, and that we have to make time for in creating conversations. Let's go ahead and talk, let's do lunch, so that we are bringing up the community. And it's understandable because for most people, I think they got into business and they're doing excellent in where they're at because they're these huge entrepreneurs and they did it getting up from their bootstraps. But in order to create a culture of more than one person, it takes all of us having more humility with each other and reaching out and saying, okay, who am I not having that conversation with? If it's female leaders, am I having that conversation with other young female leaders? If it's men, am I having that conversation with other young men? Likewise, am I having that conversation to bring up the female leaders in my organization? Because we're all here with the same goal. Let's do it. So that is kind of the challenge, in the sense of creating a space for us that is also intentional, but at the same time supporting the current spaces that are there. Mm-hmm. I constantly think of Saint Juliana and the 7 holy founders of the Servite Order and how important she was. Now, she wasn't one of the 7 holy founders of the Servite Order, and she wasn't like, how come I don't get mentioned like this? She has her own special place. Likewise, we want to have our own special place, but we do have a special responsibility to create a community for us and to help us grow, in addition to the space that we're trying to get into.
Absolutely, yeah. And the word that's being used a lot out in society right now is empowerment.
Yes.
Empowered, which I think it's a word that's how would you say it? Like if like they're bluffing it too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because well, at least in our faith, in our with our values, it should be more of a humility, right?
Absolutely.
And it's a more, and especially with the masculinity and femininity, it's about working together. And like you just perfectly said it, it's just to wherever we're at, it's about complementing each other as in any with our um, colleagues and everyone who's working with us
Absolutely.
and as a team.
So, one of the problems that we have with necessarily focusing just on the empowerment of any person, whether it be, women, whether it be a minority, is the fact that it is very much all about their power to change
Mm-hmm.
things. And also the fact that you're kind of using them
Yes.
to improve your own voice to supposedly be an advocate for them, and they aren't necessarily asking for that type of advocacy. And so that's where I have a problem with it, that
Mm-hmm.
in reality you change the dynamic from the goal is money to the goal is my ability to have power over you, in the sense that I'm supposedly representing
Uh-huh.
you. And I feel that that is a little bit unfair. And so going back to not necessarily looking for the empowerment of other women, so to speak, but just maybe it's that we're using different semantics, and in that sense, hearing what they have to say and how they can contribute. Where then those are things that we can actually see. Like, okay, I can measure contribution.
Mm-hmm.
I can measure somebody's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Can I measure power? It's a little bit more. It's just not as practical or as concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So if we focus on the things that are actually opening the people, opening us to listen to those around us, to put them in a position where they're playing to their strengths and they feel that they are working on the things that are maybe holding them back, that is sufficient. But we do need to be very careful on focusing at it just from some sort of power, because power is the new currency.
Exactly. And especially we see that like a competition based financial competition.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like it is, especially women leading in different work environments or different career paths, or we see TED Talks being led by women, or we see politics as well, right? We see just that it feels like men and women would be in a competition, but
Absolutely.
no, it's not like that.
Well, it's nice to come from our Catholic backgrounds,
Uh-huh.
because we're supposed to be complementary to each other. Because there are times where we're going to be stronger in certain areas and where men are going to be stronger in other
Mhm.
areas. And that complement plays out too, in the sense that stereotypically women are viewed sometimes as not the ones that are great with the finances. I know a lot of phenomenal women that are financially oriented and are more so than their counterparts. And their husbands are fantastic at other things. But again, every single compliment in a marriage is literally that God had a plan. And so we see that as that plays out with our friends that are married, but we also see that as us working with other people. There's times where we should look to complement each other to build a better team.
Yes, absolutely. And when it comes to marriage, you become one, and you're working for one. For
Exactly,
yourself,
exactly. Mhm.
for your family, for your husband, for your wife. Yeah, you complement each other, and you're working for each other. And I did see actually an interview where I think a man was asking the person who was interviewing, that his wife made more money than himself.
Mhm.
And he said, you should feel proud of her, not, feel, like less. You should feel proud. And that's where you both
Absolutely.
complement each other. But
Mhm.
taking it back to Catholic women,
Yes. Mhm.
leading, you know, especially when you're trying to grow, have you experienced any challenges of, where your faith has been tested within your career path or
Absolutely.
work life?
Yes. Well, in general, we should always feel tested. I think that we all should always feel tested in trying to have a higher level of responsibility and ethics. So you should always feel that pinch of like, okay, I need to make sure I do things to the best of my ability because I respond to a higher power. So that's a constant there. I think that maybe in the sense that there's a difference between being there for people and well, I think let's bring in faith and politics. I'm part of Democrats for Life, definitely 100% pro-life, and California is going to take a long time, unfortunately, to go ahead and become a pro-life state with legislature that is actually helping us out. That having been said, though, my faith doesn't change who I am, but it does open the opportunity of what I'm doing within politics to work with other people that are not like-minded for me, but we do have one thing in common, and that is that we are pro-life. And so it is a constant challenge in the sense that people, why don't you just go conservative? It makes life a lot easier because I'm not a conservative. And my faith is calling me to be true to what I think my political convictions are. However, those political convictions cannot counter my faith. That's why I say I am a pro-life Democrat. And the way things stand currently, the platform would love to expunge the rest of us and kick the rest of us out. But we have to fight and say, no, we are as liberal as the rest of the people in the party. And if you're not going to have a litmus test for them, why are you having that same litmus test for us? So in that sense, I'm challenged to make sure I maintain myself faithful and also to be very clear about those moments where I'm going to have those conversations of saying the current position of the party is anti-life and it is completely unethical.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, and always, standing up for truth when it comes to our ethical,
Exactly.
beliefs. Of course, absolutely. We have to stand up for truth and not be afraid of standing up for that truth as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes, in there was a association I was part of where they wanted to intertwine architecture with an abortion clinic that they were, they wanted to have an event there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being part of the board at that time.
Yes.
And they brought that event to the table and I said, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I did step away from that event and I said, I can't do this. It goes against my ethical
Mm-hmm.
beliefs and I can't. And well, they did meet me at the event and I said, I can't. Unfortunately, someone has to take my place for that event. And yeah, because I can't be unfaithful to my Catholic beliefs and my teachings, the Catholic teachings. So I did step away for those events. And there's, moments in our work life and our or associations or groups that we are part of and we do have to say no.
And it's hard. It's really
hard
because you
hard.
especially you want to be a part of everything, but at the same time, it's when things look so big in front of you, you're just like, come on, all you need to do is this, and you're like, no, you just can't. And the truth is, the world continues going on without you.
Yes.
And it's such a blessing to be able to know like you don't have to be on the trains that you're not called to be on.
Yes. Now, when it comes to, clients that maybe, or people that we, are part of our work, right, that come to our businesses or to the office, which also could go against our Catholic beliefs, right, like homosexuality. Of course, we're all children of God, that we do have to treat them like, our brothers and sisters.
So I'm glad that you brought that up because I actually work with Rainbow Pro Life Alliance, and so we definitely differ on our views as Catholics. However, at no point does that change that we have the same perspective that they are people that have the same dignity that we have, and I will always do the best to treat every person that I know, and particularly regardless of their sexual orientation, as a person with incredible dignity, and they have something to offer. And so I think that there is a big danger in trying to isolate ourselves from people that are different because we're not called to be an island. We are called to evangelize. And my best friend in high school was an atheist, and my prayers have been pushed to another level because of him. I pray for him on a regular basis, and I couldn't do that without somebody that was different. And so likewise, there is an opportunity to create those friendships and those relationships, and God will, and you also have to remember you might not be, or you might be that seed to have that conversation, but it requires a lot of prayer and it requires a lot of love for people, and you can't love people if you don't even give them a chance to know them.
Absolutely. Yes, and I think that's why I brought up both of the topics. You know,
Yes.
the association I was involved in that event. Okay, I cannot participate in that because it makes me participate within the, wherever we're going, and I'm not going to step in there where I know it goes against my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
But now, when it comes to clients or who comes to your office or friends that are have other beliefs as well, well, okay, what would Jesus do? That's also, I think, a question as a professional that you ask yourself. Okay, what would Jesus do too? You bring yourself down. Okay, well, he would also, he sat with tax collectors. He sat with Mary Magdalene.
Absolutely.
So sometimes we are needed to also evangelize there.
Yes, and there's going to be moments where we are going to have to step back, but it doesn't change the way that we view people with dignity.
Absolutely.
And those friendships where there's times of like, hey, I might not be able to participate and be your friend in this way, but believe me, I am your friend in this other way. Mm-hmm. And a true friend will understand that. Also, a true friend, it's tough, but the better the friends that you build and the older that you get, you realize how special it is to have people that will tell you you're wrong. Mm-hmm. How special it is for people to will tell you like, hey, you know what? I disagree with you, because they're looking out for you, making sure that you don't hit that cliff. Mm-hmm. So enjoy the fact that you build relationships with people that are different with you, and there's times that they're going to be the ones to tell you, hey, watch it, you're getting close to the cliff, or vice versa, you could be the one to tell them you're getting close to the cliff.
Absolutely. Yes, and Divine Mercy Sunday,
yes.
Well, what did Jesus say to Saint Faustina, right? You are to be a messenger of my mercy, right? So absolutely, we're being sent as merciful missionaries, to share His mercy and love. What would Jesus do? Again, I repeat that because it's true.
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, exactly. What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do?
So let's start with having a conversation,
yes,
and see where,
Yes, and even if we're women leading, that also brings me to talking about humility, because even there we have to bring ourselves to humility of listening to our brothers and sisters, like you said, dignity, right?
Yes.
But it comes also that even though we have certain degrees or certain positions in our work life, or we're doing such and such, or running a business, or running, getting our masters,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many titles that we can get as well.
Yes.
But always, with all humility, right? And
yes.
And that's what we have to do, no matter our profession, and being with all humility, mm-hmm. right? Because the titles on our, that we get, or where we're at, our position, well, we're still, no matter what, children of God, and we are sent to share His word within our work life, within our clients, or whoever we encounter.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Let them shine.
Let them shine. Yes. So tell us, Crissy, you know the networking that you do within all the you know associations that you are part of, while Project Fruitful is.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Fruitful Futures.
Yes,
absolutely. I'm so sorry. I always forget about that one, and it's only because it's relatively new.
Yes.
Yes. So
and it's coming up, right?
It is coming up.
Okay.
Our next event is going to be over at USC, so
Nice.
We are really excited. It's coming this summer.
Nice.
We will put in the details all the information,
Yes.
so you guys can visit us. But basically, it's a great initiative in the sense of focusing our ability to evangelize and focusing on what fruitful future does God want for you. And it was really inspired about the fact that with coming of the new year, everybody's excited about new year, new you, go ahead and go and start working out at the gym, etc. But all of this stuff ends up being empty because it has no spiritual basis. And so meanwhile, everybody is seeking that opportunity to renew themselves and seeking that opportunity for meaning and for impact. It's never going to be full unless it is Christ-centered. So what we wanted to do is that we wanted to kind of create a space that seemed a little bit more on the secular side, in the sense of, yes, it is totally about developing yourself. However, anybody who's in true development understands that to develop yourself, you have to develop your relationship with God. You have to develop that as the center of your professionalism. And so it is, as a result, taken off in fire because people are putting together that mentality of I need my faith to be alongside with my career. I need to grow both of them together. And yeah, it's taken off.
Yes, and no, yeah, exactly. No, that's perfectly and said that you need your faith in order to continue in your career because without it, and that goes to any personal experience as well. Without God, we can't do it.
Absolutely. And both of us have seen countless of videos of
Yes.
people who are super successful that make all the money, they have all the X amount of houses, they have the family, etc., but they're not happy. And why are they not happy? Because the faith component was missing.
And exactly. I mean, if we think of a doctor, right, in the medical field, if he does not have that love or passion for his clients, for his clients, patients, sorry.
We're coming from our perspectives.
For his patients, or a surgeon, then even that surgery or that medication is not going to be successful.
Absolutely.
And that goes to any profession. If there isn't that love, that faith, that trust in Jesus, it's not going to be a successful career if we don't have faith, if we don't even love ourselves too.
That brings me back to St. Ignatius and the fact that he had it all and realized that he was empty and he truly had nothing and there was something else to be aspired to. Success is measured only one way in the world, but success with Christ and for us to be the version that Christ wants us to be, that's a completely unexpected path. And so it is a beautiful journey for all of us to be on that path and really get to that place where Christ is calling us to be, because then we can really feel filled. And yet, it's not going to mean that we're going to be any more successful in the world the way we would like to be necessarily, but the fact that you are at a place where you are not alone and that this is
and
what
knowing our identity too.
Absolutely.
Also that knowing our identity, our role as woman, as a woman, like what is a woman, right?
Yes.
And knowing who, our role, what we are called, and our purpose in life.
Absolutely. And going on that, we get mistaken a lot for being super submissive, but I love the fact that Mary is so important in her faith and that she is the beacon and she doesn't compete with Jesus. And it's phenomenal. So, Catholic feminism is something that is completely not talked about and completely not looked at. But if you look at it, the most important person that is fully human in the Catholic faith is a woman. And yet she's not trying to outdo the guys. What are her words? Follow Christ. And so we are in an exceptional space where we are led by an exceptional woman, an exceptional evangelizer, an exceptional mother to us all, and a role model. And so I'm really excited about being able to take my perspective and say, Mary, help lead me closer to your son.
Yes. Oh, beautifully. Yes. Through Mary to Jesus. Absolutely. And in her humility, in her that's why this is called In Her Details, this podcast In Her Details, because it's allowing her to get in our details, right? And for her to be our influence, and for us to follow her lead. Absolutely. And her silence, right? Of course, if we talk about passion, right? Her silence, just seeing that leadership there as well.
Yeah, and the fact that sometimes, isn't it interesting the counter view in the sense that you would think you have to be super boisterous in the marketplace, and yet yes, Mary wasn't particularly a big speaker, and yet the quantity of conversions that she has been able to make happen through her love, through her apparitions. And at the same time, I love how she's pointing over to St. Joseph, who spoke even less. Yes. And it was a man of action. And the way that our culture as Catholics is getting more invested in St. Joseph and bringing more of a question and a relationship to ask him to intercede for us.
Mm-hmm. And St. Joseph. St. Joseph, and also his, how they complemented themselves, yes, each other. And that's a beautiful example, especially when you're discerning, your vocation. If your vocation is to marriage, or even fatherhood, right? Or marriage, but then fatherhood as well, that purpose as well. What are you aiming to, right? Or motherhood. So that, the Holy Family is such a beautiful example to many families and to revitalize the families as well. But if we take it back to career, because it's, the formation also
Yes.
for a home or a family as well,
Mhm.
wherever God calls us individually, what vocation, is our calling. We're
Definitely.
preparing even within our careers.
Yes, and I'm going to go ahead and do a shout out to my friend Yuritsi, who always reminds me that the women of Proverbs were very industrious, and so let us not forget that we have a very important role in our families and in the marketplace to be industrious.
Yes, I think we're gonna need your friend on the podcast as well.
Let's do it.
That's, yes,
She's going to hate me for saying that, but yes.
And I'm inviting her now, wherever she's at.
Join.
I had to turn.
Yeah, she's here with us in studio, ladies and
Spotlight.
gentlemen.
I'm gonna put a spotlight.
We don't have a spotlight yet. We already did. See, again, women coming together to support women. Let's do it.
Yes, absolutely. But definitely, I mean, and this is beautiful because I'm here in LA County.
Mhm.
You're in Orange County.
Yes.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that community is needed. Networking is needed. It's very important. I know there's another event coming right now for giving children hope, right?
Yes.
There's a leadership conference coming
Absolutely.
up. And these events are so needed because it's to build community,
Yes.
network, but to also motivate each other that we're not alone.
Absolutely.
Because I think this is happening a lot in society where even though, yes, there's women empowerment, and I that word is
we say the term, but we go a little bit crazy on the inside.
Yes, that's why if you're watching the video, it's I do
We
make
get it, but
my expression because it's like empowerment. Like, come on, bring it down. But no, but the events are needed because we need to nourish ourselves to in terms of our professionalism, right? And how to approach one another, but we bring it back to our ethical beliefs as well, right?
Absolutely.
But I know there's going to be a sister on the panel, right?
Yes, there is. So we're
that's
looking
exciting.
forward to that. So I can't wait to see everybody. I believe it is on April 30th. And again, it's a great opportunity for women to come together, to support each other in our leadership, to learn from each other, and to grow from the wisdom of our panelists. So yes, that's coming up.
Wonderful. I'm so excited for that event. Definitely. But I really enjoy these events. Like I said, yes, to motivate, but it also, I think, I come back with the encouragement to continue going.
Yes.
Just to hey, if I felt a bit down, or what am I going to do next? What can I do? Or it's inspiration. And I think it's part of also the Holy Spirit, like, hey, you're not alone. Do not be afraid. And I think I always tell my friends, even friends within my own work environment as well. I tell them, like, don't be afraid. Like, just go for it. Take the risk. If you get a no, it's a no. If it works, it doesn't work. But pray.
Yes.
Always pray. And even within my with my clients as well, I always do not take away my beliefs. And that's what we were talking about. Speak always with the truth. And use the Catholic teachings to the Catechism of the Catholic Church. That
dig deep and give yourself the opportunity of friends to take along the journey, because otherwise it is a very boring or it's a very tough journey.
Absolutely.
So, we do a lot of networking, and I super love the opportunity to meet other people. But the thing that is most special about being able to be in these events is the fact that every time you come out with somebody that is able to touch your heart in a way that you didn't expect it, and being able to be open to that that, because if you're not, you constantly close yourself off to the beauty of the first thing that, really made God go crazy when he created it, which was man. So that is super, super important to build our network of friends, to build our network of professionals, because without them, how are we going to move this community that God is asking us to be a part of?
But yes, Crissy, tell us, how do you do it? Because no, where I'm going is uh, on Thursday when we were at the event that you invited me to, the fundraiser for giving children hope.
Mm-hmm.
You had a bunch of people there that you invited, and we were being asked, "Oh, so how did you get invited?" Oh, Crissy.
This is true. Mallory Bowen, if you're there, she would say that
Shout
out to her again.
Yes, shout out to you,
I
Mallory.
covered everybody.
We're having her on the podcast too.
Definitely.
Yes. But yes, how do you do it to encourage others to come to the events, or the community that you have formed?
The answer is through a lot of prayer, like you said. You have to let go of your ego. Yes. That's the first thing. I think that for anybody who knows me, they've seen my face everywhere for every single one of the causes that I'm at. So I'm sure everybody thinks I'm incredibly egocentric. It's not. But in order to go ahead and make a change in this world, sometimes you need to put your face out there. In Spanish, sacar la casta would be a good way to say it. And in that way, I go ahead and put myself out there, because at least it's a friendly face that that you can go ahead and say, okay, there's somebody else that I know that's there. It makes it an opportunity to go. So hence why I put my face everywhere. Now, thank God that he gave me the opportunity to understand that a no doesn't mean anything is going to happen in the world. The world isn't going to turn into like all of a sudden a super un it it doesn't really change what's going to happen. It's not an opportunity to go ahead and interact with somebody, but that door should always remain open. And so I'm a big advocate for throwing the opportunity, throwing the invite, and God's on the other side working. Exactly. If God wants it to happen, he'll go ahead and make it happen. Absolutely. As a joke, there's events that people are like, I don't want to go to, and I know I can be like that too, in the sense of like, there's certain events that might not be my thing, but God's got a good humor. And okay, I'm just gonna tell this really funny story. But anyways, my friend wanted to invite me to a dating event, one of those speed networking ones. And I was like, oh my God, okay, if I have an Achilles heel, it's that. So as a joke, I told my friend, look, okay, I'm not gonna go. But if you want
to Catholic,
it was Catholic, yes. But I know. Those are the kind of networking events where I'm like, I don't know. It sounds like an interview. But so I said, like, okay, the only way you can get me to go to one of these things is if I'm organizing it, because then I'm screwed. Then I have to go. So what does God do later on? He shoots me out a friend who says, hey, we're planning speed dating event. Can you help me with it? I'm like, shoot, funny God, you're hilarious. You know us. So this is exactly why you need to pray, because even when you're so like, especially if you're so staunch about not going to certain events or they're not your thing, the only one that can get to you is God. And also keep that door open and keep on inviting people, and allow people also to be your friends. Because if you're just inviting people, but you're not really inviting them to your heart, to make a difference in you, to have a conversation, to be able to catch up like we caught up, then what are you inviting them to? So I think that we all need to revise our hearts and make a space for each other.
Absolutely. And I think that's what, we have in common, because I always like to meet new people. And that's why I've gone to the events out there as well at Orange County when I went to the I Am conference.
Yes.
And Theology on Tap.
we got up there too. So she says, like, why do it? And she's at all the same events I'm at.
And I'm like, Crissy, I'm here.
Yes, another kindred spirit. We're here. So.
Yes. Yes. So, and that's the joy, I think, the joy of the Holy Spirit.
Yes. And I think, okay, I gotta say too that it can be super nerve-wracking to like meet people that are new and like, I don't know if I can talk to this person. When you have the spirit to be shared, when you have
enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Also use that fact that you don't know what you're doing. Look, I'm here. I don't know anybody. So hi, my name is. Yes. It's a great way to start a conversation with people, and you don't even know the person in front of you might be in the same situation. I've never been here, or I barely know anybody here.
Yes, or that person needs you, for an event.
Absolutely.
At
Exactly.
an
Oh,
event.
ouch. That one hurt twice. But yes, that's how it works.
No, but that's how it works, and that's how God sends us out. Wherever we go. I remember I went to an event and a friend needed. Well, now she's my friend, but that's
Mhm.
where I met her, and she needed prayer, and just from there it starts. So we're messengers, no matter what, no matter our title.
Yes.
We are needed out in the world, and especially today, our society definitely needs us. Our teens needs us. Our woman on the same path, on the journey of path. Sometimes we feel discouraged, like, oh, I'm not advancing in life.
And I love how you said that because a lot of women are a little bit worried about the term professional because they don't feel that they're professionals. And that drives me nuts. Just from being a woman, you're being a professional woman. For starters, because it takes, what's her name? Oh my gosh. Maria Felix would say, it takes intelligence to keep this thing working. And she'd point at herself. Because women go through a lot of problems and it takes a lot of intelligence for us to move forward. So even from that point, you're starting on the right foot. And the other thing is that the career that women choose in the sense of being mothers and being wives, it is a freaking career. So we need the wisdom of moms to be at these professional events. We need the wisdom of wives to be at this professional event. You don't necessarily need to be paid to be a professional. So don't be afraid of these spaces just because you feel like, oh, you're at the next level of life, or I don't have a degree. That's not what this is about. No. And likewise, if you are, I come across this with teachers. They feel like they're in a different environment, that they're not growing because they're not lawyers or, doctors. Neither of us are a lawyer or a doctor, and yet we're here. So please, please, please fill up the marketplace. We need you.
Yes, absolutely. And we all have talents.
Absolutely.
We all have different talents. We are needed everywhere, no matter what. There's events that I've gone and it has nothing to do with architecture. And we have to, make part. We're already, called to do, we have a calling.
Yeah. But it's interesting you're saying that because you are an architect. You're an architect of Christ's community. And that's how he's always, playing with us in the sense of like, yes, you're building, but there's sometimes like St. Francis that you're going to be building one thing and another. So you'll be building another.
But he's the main architect.
Yes, he is.
And we're his co-creators here on Earth.
100%. Love how you put that.
And that's actually an image that I have back there of Jesus as the architect, and he has the floor plan. And when throughout my career, towards the end when I was about to graduate and seeking the job opportunity, I told him, God, how do you want me to now put my practice or my career into practice? You are the main architect. Lead me. You're the main architect of my blueprint, so lead me. How do you want me to lead this? And yes, so the importance, I think, is to pray. How do you want to journey? Not how do you want to journey, but how are you surrendering and giving yourself to Jesus?
Absolutely. And so what does that prayer look like? Definitely it looks like the rosary. It looks like at one point getting to daily mass if you're not there, starting with YouTube. But it really opens up to deciding to be intentional about being open to God's wisdom. And I think that's where it really starts. Okay, so who are you, Jesus? What did you say? And that starts with the word. The word really opens up our ability to create a relationship with God and to question that wisdom. So it's okay to be at the beginning like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with you, or I don't know where this is taking me. But you can't dog something that you don't know. So start with that and allow yourself the opportunity to be humble, to take wisdom from somebody else, and to see if that gives fruit to what you were doing and starts creating a purpose in your life or filling that void in the sense of something's missing.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Crissy, thank you so much. And how can we find you? Absolutely. I mean, or maybe before we end, is there any final thoughts that you want to encourage other women, other Catholic women leading?
Absolutely. Let's There is. Well, first of all, we have the wonderful grace to have so many Catholic models in our lives, in the sense of number one, Mary, in the sense of also Mary and her sister Martha. Um, there are so many saints out there that were extraordinary, and there's so many saints that were ordinary. Saint Therese of Lisieux, and ordinary in the sense that she lived a very simple life but a very extraordinary life, and became a doctor of the church. We are missing you if you're listening to this. If you are a person that is loud in the marketplace, God is calling you to be a little bit more quiet somehow and increase your prayer life. If you are a person that is quiet in the marketplace, God is probably calling you to get out there, because you have this gift of grace that needs to be shared. Let's go ahead and treat the gifts that God gave us like that alabaster box that gets poured onto his feet completely, 110%. Let's pour ourselves out and let God do what he will with our gifts and our talents by bringing us together.
Yeah, beautiful. And absolutely be like, you know, like Mary, also choosing the best part, right?
Yes.
Not like Martha that wants to be everywhere.
Exactly.
I mean, we could, because
True,
I
it all comes back to that relationship with Jesus. So
yes.
don't be busy aside from Jesus, because that's how you lose it.
Yes,
Be
exactly.
busy for Jesus.
Be busy for Jesus. Yes, exactly. Because we could be overwhelmed with a lot of things, but if we're not doing it for Jesus,
Yes.
and that, it doesn't mean that you have to be involved in what it means, like doing things for Jesus, just in the church. No, it could be outside in society, because actually we have to go out into our communities and society, because, well, that's Jesus too, where he needs us in action as well.
Our faith compels our good work.
Not just within our church environments, no, outside as well.
Mhm.
I mean, we could engage with the world but not be part of it, of
Yes.
course, but also choosing the best part, which is listening to Jesus and putting it in, Jesus into action.
110%. Being his hands and feet.
Yes, exactly. Amen. So, Crissy, once again, thank you so much. You're such an inspiration for many of us, that's for sure. And we will continue, in this communication, in this journey together, and inspiring many other more women. I know you are for sure doing that. And well, can't wait for another episode.
I can't wait for another one with this extraordinary leader that is Lisa.
I was about episode 2 coming soon.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity, for all of us who have sat in this chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And to our viewers and listeners, thank you so much. And please don't forget to follow us on Instagram at In Her Details, and also at the Imago Dei Digital Ministry Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and our Facebook as well. You could find us there. Check out our newest video as well. We went out to the streets of LA on Good Friday.
Love it.
Carrying the cross, not to be seen, but for others to see the cross, right? Because we are messengers as well, going out to evangelize with the cross. That was our aim on Good Friday. And let us continue in prayer together, Catholic women leading. Let's, lead, but let's also nourish one another, right? Nurture, our families.
Absolutely.
We have a lot to do. There's a lot to do, and to bring back Christ to our families as well. Well, may God bless you, and until the next episode, God bless.